Hey friends, Shay here. Let's wrap up some of my recent reads for you. I've read quite a bit in the month of May, but it's primarily been books. I've read very little manga. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to start with the manga because there's only a handful of volumes, and then we'll dive into the books. I do hope you'll stick around for everything because I've really enjoyed my reads this month, and I've read some very unique things for me. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first up with manga, obviously I finally got around to volume 35 of Yona of the Dawn, which was a fantastic volume, especially with where volume 34 left off. I loved the momentum and the plot progression that we saw in volume 35. We see people taking Yona very seriously that should have from the beginning, but at the same time, Yona would not be behaving the way she is now without her world experience. So that's all I'm really going to say because we are 35 volumes deep in a series, but just know that Yona is one of my all-time favorites. Right now, it is not my current favorite. It has recently been dethroned. If you've missed that video, it's right there. But yes, still very high on my list, still thoroughly enjoyable, and I think until this one ends, the other one will stay above it because the other one is complete and this one is not. Next, we have the Savior's Books Cafe Story in Another World. Technically, this was the end of the first arc of the story, and then from here we'll be entering another arc, and I believe there's 3 volumes in that one. But I really loved what happened in this volume for many, many reasons. It just made my heart very happy, and I love this story. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. So yeah, anyways, just know that Savior's Book Cafe in Another World is amazing, and you should be reading it because, yes, you should. All right, y'all. I finally got my hands on the big guns. Fire in His Fingertips, Volume 3. Volume 3 was really good because it's actually having our characters face some hard truths about each other. And I felt like those were kind of shunted to the side early in the series for the sake of sex. But now they're kind of having to face that. And now there is someone that has entered Rio's work that could potentially take her away from Soma, I believe is his name. Yeah, Soma. So yeah, and this was steamy and great in the ways that Fire in His Fingertips always is. But yes, I definitely enjoyed it. Next, I have Those Not So Sweet Boys Volume 6. Now, there is only going to be one more volume on this one. It is complete in Japan at 7 volumes. So we only have one more to go, so we'll be getting the end very soon. But considering how I was feeling at the end of Volume 5, Volume 6 definitely put all those concerns I was having to rest very quickly, and I appreciated that it put them to rest very quickly. And with only one more volume in the series, we're just going to kind of wrap up what's currently going on and end things. Yoko Nogiri tends to write shorter series. This is the longest series we've seen from her in English. But honestly, I really enjoy their art style and their storytelling style. So I would take things that were even longer than this one. But at the same time, this one's feeling about the right length for me. So I'm very excited. Once again, I'm saying that a lot, guys. I'm enjoying this and looking forward to where it's going to go. The next one inspired a recent video, and that is Run on Your New Legs, Volume 1. This is about a high schooler who got into a prestigious high school on a soccer scholarship. And early on, in his first year, they thought he could be on basically the equivalent of a varsity team. He and his buddy, they were just partners on the field, could read each other's minds, and they just had this synchrony together, and it was really cool. But now, he had an accident and lost his leg. And now I'm going to say content warnings for suicidal ideals and talk of suicide and depression and PTSD and phantom limbs and all those kinds of things that come along with losing a limb. And so please tread cautiously, make sure your mental health is in the right space for this one. But this is stunning because what happens is he gets to know this kid on the track team and he's kind of jealous of him. And they're getting ready to board the train, I believe it is. And he sees a purse snatcher steal some from this little old lady. And despite being on a prosthetic leg, he takes off running after the thief. And he's fast. But it's not this sports leg that we see. It's just a normal prosthesis. And someone who makes sports prosthesis sees him and basically hands him his card and says, I want to work with you. Please let me work with you. I want to give you a sports leg. I want you to run on your new legs. Essentially, which is where we get the title from. He hems and haws on it, and then he calls the guy finally ready, and something's happened. So I'm not going to tell you what that is because that's a spoiler. But just know that I love this series. I will definitely be collecting this one. This one is releasing slowly, but it is a very intense read. So just know that going in, but it is very well done. And I'm very much appreciative that it's even here. And I will take as many about disabilities as I can get because it's so underrepresented in the US market right now that I will take more and more and more. And if you have Rex, if you need Rex, check out the video that this one inspired. And also check the comments because people have been leaving great comments and recommending new series to me. And then the last volume of manga we have for this stack is I Have a Cat Barista Volume 2. I finally got my hands on this one, finally got around to reading it. I love this series so much. It's still ongoing in Japan, so we will be getting more, but it's a slow releasing one, so just know that it's going to be big gaps in between. But considering it's very slice of lifey, I almost appreciate it when there's a bigger gap, because then I don't burn out on the story. I just get to come in and enjoy it. And essentially, you find this Cat Barista's cafe if you're weary and tired. And he's just the one to boost you up. And it's adorable, and I love it. There's little bits of cat things. And in this one, we meet a dog patissier. And he starts to work at the Barista's cafe, the Cat Barista's place of work as well. So anyways, super adorable, would recommend. All right, from there we're going to get into the books. I do have one light novel I'll discuss right at the very beginning, and then we'll talk about books. And that one is Restaurant to Another World, Volume 2. Lindsay and I buddy read this one. We buddy read it reading multiple stories a day, and I think this is one where we could buddy read it alongside something else and just kind of read one story a day, because it does start to get a little bit repetitive. And you're dealing with like 20-ish stories per volume of the light novel. So with this one, I think, I'm not sure if Lindsay wants to continue. I'll talk to her. But this is one where you would like read a story a day and then read other things, kind of a thing, I think. And where we did multiple at a time, it just started to feel very repetitive. But I really enjoy the world and the story and the cafe, or the restaurant. Either way, I love it. This one I gave 4 stars. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the first installment, but I still enjoyed it. And I'm going to continue. I'm not sure if Lindsay's going to continue with me. We'll chat and we'll let you know. All right, and the last physical book I have, because everything I read this month has been digital, that is Pandora's Jar by Natalie Haynes. This is a book all about the women in Greek myth, and basically a nonfiction setting to rights why these women who were villainized in various forms of Greek literature that we now have, what their real stories were. She's done a lot of research, and it's amazing. Like, this is one of the best nonfictions I have read in many years. Like, this one gripped me. It kept me interested. And I feel like I honestly learned new things about women in Greek myth from this book. It's not a super long one. It's super easy to read. She has a very personable writing style, very easy to get into, very enjoyable. She does narrate the audiobook herself, so if you're interested in the audio, I would recommend. I did primarily listen to this one on audio, but I do own a physical copy, so I'm holding it up for you. But I love this. Like, Pandora's Jar has been one of my favorite reads this entire month. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was very well done, very well researched. Thoroughly enjoyed my time, would recommend. All right, so there are 4 books that I talk about in another video that were recommended from Heather at Hia Booktubes. That is Skin by Evita Weiss, Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones, Charge by Kate C. Wells, and The Alpha's Affair by Drea Anderson. So I talk about those in depth in that video, so I'm going to leave that linked for you. And if you want my in-depth thoughts on those, you can go and check that out. Skin, I gave like 4.5 stars. Getting Schooled, I gave 4.5 stars. Charge, I gave 4.5 stars. And The Alpha's Affair, I gave a solid 4. Like, I really enjoyed all 4 of these. So just know that. Next up, I have Make Me Yours by Melanie Harlow. This is one that I had started before April ended, and I just finished it up in this one. So basically, it's a brother's best friend, single dad kind of situation. And so they've known each other. She's the girl's next door to him. And the way that everything fell out in that one, it felt very realistic. I don't feel like anything was overblown. I felt like they took their situations and took them very seriously. So I really enjoyed it for that reason. I've come to realize I do enjoy Melanie Harlow, so I will probably be picking up more from her soon. Next, I have The Stand-In by Lily Chu. This is one that I had an e-arc of from NetGalley for a while, and I just got around to it late. I did primarily listen to this on the Audible exclusive audio, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed my time. It's not the best take that I've ever seen, because, you know, it's very much, there's a celebrity, this girl in Canada looks exactly like her, they swap places, there was a little connection at the end that I wasn't exactly expecting, but it worked out and fell out well for me. But the Canadian girl falls in love with the Chinese co-star, and it's cute. It's really cute. I had a good time. Solid 3.5, 4. Again, it didn't do anything groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but I enjoyed my time. Next is the other nonfiction that I've read so far this month, and that is Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. I've not read any Brene Brown at this point, but I kind of knew what she touted and what she talked about, and so I decided to pick up Daring Greatly, and I ended up enjoying myself. I had a good time. Solid 3.5. It didn't do anything to blow my mind necessarily, but I've read a lot of personal growth earlier in my life, and so I think had I read this 10 years ago, it would have hit me a lot harder than it does now. Next, I have Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is one that I was really excited about after I read it. Happened one summer, just last month, I believe. But yes, Hook, Line, and Sinker was a really great follow-up. We have a pining hero, and the heroine, it's really interesting because she thought she had feelings for somebody, but then she realized it was just a crush. She really didn't. And when they go back on location to the place where she and her sister were, where the hunky man is, that's when things start to change for her. And it's really sweet. Forced proximity because she's bunking at his place while she's in town for the movie, because she can't bunk with the sister, because the sister has her in-laws there. But yes, it was very, very good. Very, very fun. Very Tessa Bailey. And this was a slower burn for Tessa Bailey, so I appreciated that and had a great time. Next, I did reread Barbarian Lover by Ruby Dixon because I got an e-arc copy of the new edition of it, so I wanted to make sure there weren't any big changes, but my thoughts on the book are still the same. It's a 3.5. It deals with an infertility trope that I have a hard time enjoying infertility tropes, but the way Ruby Dixon handled it was great for the most part. I just felt like it was diminished by the very end. If you've read it, you know why. And so it's a 3.5 for me. Then I've got The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. Now, I loved The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa that came out last year. Mia Sosa has Brazilian roots. And having been to Brazil, having Brazilian family, my sister-in-law's Brazilian, if you've not heard me mention that before. So I've been immersed in that culture a bit. And the way she brings that Brazilian culture into her stories and the Brazilian food and all those kinds of things is always super fun for me. And The Wedding Crasher was a really great one because our heroine Solange, her cousin, our heroine from the previous book, she is planning this big elaborate wedding that'll pay her lots of money, put her on the map kind of situation. But Solange hears the bride having a heart-to-heart with somebody in the wedding party about the fact that she's in love with them and not the groom. And she bumps into the groom in the hall, and she's like, this isn't fair to him. Her mom was kind of in a similar situation, it seems. And so she stops the wedding and asks the bride if this is what she really wants. And the bride is the one who officially ends it. But because she crashed the wedding as a helper to the wedding party, she was helping do the makeup with another cousin. And because of that, there are other things that fall out. And so Solange needs a pretend boyfriend for family. He needs a pretend girlfriend for work. They start fake dating. Things go from there. It's fabulous. It's brilliant. I loved it. And then I kind of went on a Lauren Blakely audiobook binge. So here we go. So the first one was Kismet. This is one where a female curator of art basically gets a job transferred to London, and she works with a man named Graham, and they're basically vying for the same position, but they have a one-night stand before they find out that they're working together, and things go from there. It's cute. I'm not going to say too much more because the audiobook isn't super long, but I really enjoyed my time and I would recommend. The next one is One of Those Flings. This was only like an hour long at 2x speed. Basically, it's all about how her friends are encouraging her to let loose after a year of not dating and have a fling on this trip that she planned for herself. And she ends up meeting the hunky person who's running the tour that she's on to kind of let loose, and things go from there. Not going to say much more because it's short. Go check it out. It's an Audible exclusive. It's full cast. It's fun. And then the last Lauren Blakely that I've read so far is Never Have I Ever. And again, this is a single parent kind of situation, worried that they're handling things all wrong. This is someone that they truly and genuinely care for. And, you know, it's a lot like Make Me Yours, but a little bit different. But of the two, I do think I prefer Make Me Yours, but I still enjoyed this one. All right, I've got 3 more and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so I have When a Princess Proposes by Carolyn Sparks. So this is really a sequel series to the Embraced series by Carolyn Sparks. So to have the right kind of context for this first book in the sequel series, you need to at least read The Siren in the Deep Blue Sea, which is the last book in that series, because those characters are carrying over into this one. But I do think that you need to at least have the context of the world from that last book to appreciate this book. So with that said, I did enjoy my time. I really enjoyed our couple. It's one of those, she's a princess. He's worked for the royal family for a long time. They've both been eyeing each other for a long time. He feels unworthy. She's like, no, I get to choose. And it's pretty stereotypical from there. I really enjoy the world and the politics of it. So that's mainly why I read it. But yeah, still enjoyed. Then I have Only Home with You by Jeannie Chin. This is a novella about, you know, childhood friends who make things work. And this takes place in between the 2 big books in this series. The first book is The Inn on Sweetbriar Lane, so you'll meet the couple there. And then Only Home with You is really, really cute, brother's best friend kind of situation. I really enjoyed myself. And then the last one is Redemption by Kenya Wright. This is my first Kenya Wright. I'll be honest there. And I had a great time with this book. I feel like it was so well done, so well handled, being someone who left a pretty bad situation. Obviously, this is an extreme version of what I experienced. And then finding a person who made her feel safe again was a really big thing. It hit me hard. I read these kind of romantic suspense style books every once in a while because it helps me deal with what I dealt with. It's kind of a form of therapy, I guess you could say. And this one was so well done. I really loved our hero Yoshiro. He is big bad and would burn the world for a heroine, and I loved it. It was so good. I'm definitely going to be picking up more Kenya Wright from here on out. And yes, I had a great time. So those are my reads so far in the month of May. Let me know in the comments down below what some of your favorite reads so far of this month have been, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Was it all just a dream, just all in my